Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games, The Week in Games. The Week in Games is a weekly segment I do about once a month, going over the gaming state of the industry and various and sundry tidbits and pieces of information that may or may not be of interest to you. It's been interesting. Spring has sprung, the grass is riz. I wonder where all my board games is. They are here. These board game creatures are stirring even the mice. Slowly. In this area, we are reigniting community and social activity into the retinue of daily life. Spring is in the air, which in the Pacific Northwest means that you get rain, 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 and the cruel and short glimpses of sun and warmth that we covet. So, alas, let's get to the news. Okay. New and upcoming is a reprint of a game called Fjords, F-J-A-O-R-D-S. F-J-O-R-D-S. I can spell. It's a game I bought long ago for $10 and ended up selling for $50. Yes. And it's making a comeback. What's different this time is that the artwork is going to be done by Beth Sobel, who many people know is from Wingspan and a variety of other very well art-supported games. And Phil Walker-Tanya Harding is going to be a design influence in this game. So it's a light, quick puzzle game, sort of a, kind of a filler game, kind of a little like a meaty filler game of world building. It's a good choice for others. It wasn't exactly resonating with me, hence the sale. But from what I understand, it will still be highly affordable. Stellaris. The PC game of 4X Strategy Grand Strategy has made a comeback on Kickstarter in board game fashion. Now, the Kickstarter is closed. I waffled and wassilated quite a bit on it and decided not to back it because it was getting up there in price to get what I felt was like the components I'd want out of it, and I felt like Twilight Imperium 4 was still king of the castle. But for those who are interested, there probably will be a late pledge, late backing opportunity. It looks from the information we have, which admittedly is not totally fully complete, that it will be a great game for 2 to 4 players that really stresses the elements of Stellaris, the computer game itself, beyond just the hope that it's a good core 4X space strategy game. In other news, Fall of the Mountain King is going to be a new game from the makers of In the Hall of the Mountain King, which is a game that surprised me last year. The premise, it kind of took me by surprise. I didn't go out searching for it, but when I found it was delightful. And then came out with a solo variant, which I thought made it even better. In the Hall of the Mountain King is nothing like its successor. It's actually a predecessor and seems more like it's sort of almost a storytelling kind of thing that leads up to the place you find yourself in the previous sequel. Star Wars much. And finally, Vijayanagra, the Deccan Empire of Medieval India, good luck putting that on the box, is a new coin game in the series of many coin games featuring ancient India. And it is gorgeous. It is the most striking map I've seen ever in a coin game series. We already have Gandhi, which is a game about India in more modern times. Now we're going to go back in time long to the... Someone please tell me how to spell Vijayanagra? I'll get there. Anyway, check it out if you wish on the GMT Games website. Let's get to my question of the week. Okay, question of the week. This has come up because of recent events lately, and it's been sort of a swirling circle of my friends. It is the question that was posed to me was, so, App-Driven Games, are you still a fan? And this came about because, A, people know that I really have a soft spot for App-Driven Games. I want them to succeed, but I do also at the same time want to be realistic and recognize the perils that come along with it, both in longevity and in introducing elements of video games that are not necessarily optimal, that make people who really just wanted the board games instead of the video games to cry out, yes, vindicated. To answer your question, I have exactly the same feeling I did, maybe a touch less. So maybe a small millimeter less of a fan. And the reason for that is that I think that we're finally seeing we're not seeing a plethora, a proliferation of app-driven games that are sort of overwhelming the industry. That's not happening. I don't see it happening. But I do think that some of the games recently that have come out have sort of started to show the warts of having to have a digital component inside the game. And I'm not going to lie, I'm all about it. I love the idea of it. I love the extendability for it. I've seen it at its best, and some of the recent games that have come out have kind of shown that it doesn't always act at its best. Rather than beleaguer this point in this, I actually am going to do a segment in the next few weeks where I rate the app-driven games I played as far as how I feel that they've done in representing app-driven games in a positive light or not. Anyway, that's it. I know you all have, I think some of the most stark discussions I've had locally and even in Harebrained Games has been about app-driven games. There's some very, very passionate opinions about it. So rather than deal with that, I'm just going to say, yeah, I'm still the same mindset I was, maybe a little less enamored. So anyway, let's get to my 3 games. Okay, guess what? This is an app-driven game. Yes, it is. It's Sea of Legends. I received this a couple weeks. It was a Kickstarter. It comes in not 1, but 2 boxes, which I did an unboxing for those of you that like unboxings. It's an app-driven game. Had no chance to play it yet for reasons that I made clear in the unboxing. The app is finally ready. About a week after I got the product, and doesn't run for me, but runs for others, but we're going to wait and see. We'll talk about that later. Maybe in Tim's grunchy grouch moments. Company of Heroes, the board game, on the other hand, has arrived, and it is mighty indeed. This sucker was heavy. It's got some awesome components. I'm looking forward to giving it a try. It just arrived yesterday. I'll probably do an unboxing for it at some point. C'est sera. And finally, this game I've been waiting for a long time. Those of you who know me and have been around for a few years know that Jeremy White reigns at the top spot of my narrative-driven gaming Hall of Fame. His Doolittle Raid and his Dambusters Raid were like games of the year for me. Doolittle Raid is still the game of the year for me for that year, and still is a tremendous effort. Just, this guy makes games, he thinks through everything, he does everything you could possibly imagine to try to make these games rich, both before you play them, as you're reading about playing them, and then playing them. Atlantic Chase is no different. It has a strange trajectory signal system, trajectory station system, that you will probably, I haven't seen anything like, maybe, I'd love, if anybody's ever seen something like it, I'd love to know what game it is, because there's nothing like it I've ever seen, and I have just scratched the surface. It has got hundreds of pages of manuals, all very well written, all very easy, all with very good illustrations. Like, you have to find a way to get confused reading this, despite the fact that it's such an unusual mechanism. Darn it, I'm almost giving it a rating, but I'm not, because it's not time yet. Anyway, those are my 3 games. Let's get to Tim Machine. Okay, the year is 1985. That's right. It is the top story. Gorbachev takes over as the final Soviet leader. And I still remember that mark on his head going, as a kid, going, wow, can't they, like, brush that off? Anyway, I was political in some ways and completely oblivious in other ways. So anyway, the top movie was The Color Purple. I've seen it twice now, but I probably haven't seen it in maybe 10 years. The song for 1985 was Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, and the book was Lake Woebegone Days by an up-and-coming satirist, if that could be true, Garrison Keillor. More of a storyteller, not a satirist. What did I play? Well, I played Pictionary, because at the age of 15 we had lots of youth group activities, and the only games they really had were Pictionary and Bible trivia. What game would I have bought if I had known then what I know now? And that is a no-brainer, Advanced Squad Leader. So that I could have become the grognard I hoped and dreamed to be. What game did I want to play? Dungeon Quest. But we're not going to have any of those devil games in our house, young man. Ended that right there. So, on to 1986, which might be my favorite teen year. Might be, none of my teen years were all that great, but this one was probably my favorite, and a lot of it was just Style. It was the 80s. Top story was the Chernobyl accident. We still have questions. The top movie was Top Gun. Oh yeah, that I've seen a bazillion times. Yep. The song was That's What Friends Are For by Dionne Warwick. And the book was Red Storm Rising by Tom Clancy. Now, I didn't read it when it came out. I read it in the early 90s. But I do remember this was one of the first introductions I had to the idea of a book or anything that constantly oscillated between different viewpoints in different areas of the world at the same time. It was the first one where you'd read a few pages and then you'd switch to another few pages and then switch to another, where it's basically like micro cliffhangers all the way through the book. And I really like that approach. I know it's not for everyone. There are people it drives nuts, but I really like that approach. You just to a point. Maybe less so in TV movies, but more in books like this. So, what did I play? Fortress America. That's right. Go USA. And what game would I have bought if I'd known then what I know now? Die Mocker. That way I could have been a global grognard like I always wanted to be. Hopes and dreams shattered. Instead, I just rode my moped up and down the street. Anyway, what game did I want to play? Fireball Island. And hey, who would have thought that in this day and age, I could recreate that and actually pick up Fireball Island again. That's it. That's what we have for the mid-month of April. It's great to be healthy, and I hope you all are doing well. I hope you all are healthy. I hope you all are finally getting to get out, shake your limbs, and feel alive, and join up and hang out with each other. So take care, and we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.